Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily, where we keep you up to date on everything going on in the cryptocurrency space today. My name is Aaron, and our top story of the day is this. A recently resurfaced video from 2018 demonstrates just how well Vladimir Putin, who is one of the world's most powerful people, this demonstrates just how well and just how knowledgeable the president of Russia understands Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So in this video, Vladimir Putin is asked by an independent blogger. This was just a question on the fly. The blogger asks him, will Russia have its own cryptocurrency? And if Russia does have its own cryptocurrency, will it be regulated by the government? So this is a question that would throw any other world leader on his or her toes. You know, as far as we know, we haven't really seen a world leader speak knowledgeably or thoughtfully on Bitcoin or on cryptocurrency. So it's surprising that this video has gone relatively unnoticed by the English-speaking world until just recently. Pay attention, this video is subtitled. Watch and listen very closely.
Первый вопрос, будет ли у России какая-нибудь своя криптовалюта? Второе, будет ли это как-нибудь контролироваться государством? И в-третьих, считаете ли вы, что в ближайшем будущем криптовалюта полностью заменит наши обычные стандартные деньги?
Ну, вопрос, который вам задали, он задан несколько некорректно, потому что своей криптовалюты у России не может быть по определению. Так же, как не может быть своей криптовалюты в любой другой стране. Потому что если мы говорим о криптовалюте, то это то, что выходит за рамки национальных границ.
The president of Russia is ahead of the game by far when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as far as world leaders go. Could you imagine President Donald Trump speaking so eloquently or speaking so fairly on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? No, in fact, we've seen the direct opposite. The question on my mind is, well, what has happened with Russia and Vladimir Putin since this interview? This interview happened in 2018. I wonder how much more Putin knows today, or I wonder what kind of action Putin has taken since this event. I think it's logical to assume that Vladimir Putin is massively stacking sats. And why wouldn't he be? Almost every smart person who takes the time to read and understand what Bitcoin is and why Bitcoin is and how Bitcoin is understands that it's necessary and will probably continue to trend towards getting more valuable. And they keep talking about it from a fundamental level. For instance, just a few days ago, Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Square and Twitter, he went on Lex Fridman's podcast, and for about 7 minutes straight, he sang the praises of Bitcoin. He called the white paper poetry. This is just some of what he said.
I think the most beautiful thing about it is there's no one person setting the direction. And there's no one person on the other side that can stop it. So we have something that is pretty organic in nature and very principled in its original design. I think the Bitcoin white paper is one of the most seminal works of computer science in the last 20, 30 years. It's poetry. I mean,
yeah,
it really
pretty
is.
cool technology. I mean, that's not often talked about. There's so much sort of hype around digital currency, about sort of the financial impacts of it, but the actual technology is quite beautiful from a computer science perspective.
Yeah, and the underlying principles behind it that went into it, even to the point of releasing it under a pseudonym. I think that's a very, very powerful statement. The timing of when it was released is powerful. It was a total activist move. I mean, it's moving the world forward in a way that I think is extremely noble and honorable and enables everyone to be part of the story, which is also really cool. So you asked a question around 10 years and 20 years. I mean, I think the amazing thing is no one knows. And it can emerge, and every person that comes into the ecosystem, whether they be a developer or someone who uses it, can change its direction in small and large ways. And that's what I think it should be, because that's what the internet has shown is possible. Now there's complications with that, of course, and there's certainly companies that own large parts of the internet and can direct it more than others, and there's not equal access to every single person in the world just yet, but all those problems are visible enough to speak about them, and to me that gives confidence that they're solvable in a relatively short time frame. I think the world changes a lot as we get these satellites projecting the internet down to Earth, because it just removes a bunch of the former constraints and really levels the playing field.
I think conversations like this are microcosms for conversations that are happening all across the planet that aren't getting recorded. And something specifically that I liked was that in the beginning, how Lex tried to steer the conversation, saying it's the technology that's beautiful. It's the technology that makes it cool. To me, that sounded almost like he was saying it's the blockchain. Probably wasn't, but that's what it sounded like to me. But Jack steered it back to, he said, yeah, that's cool, but it's actually the underlying fundamental principles of Bitcoin that make it so great. So let me show you one more, because like I said, they talked about this for quite some time. Here's Jack talking about how one world currency that is decentralized, so specifically he's talking about Bitcoin, how one global currency, how it will change things, especially in places like Ethiopia. By the way, guys, make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, support the channel. Watch this.
A global currency, which a native currency for the internet is a proxy for, is a very powerful concept. And I don't think any one person on this planet truly understands the ramifications of that. I think there's a lot of positives to it. There's some negatives as well.
Do you think it's possible, sorry to interrupt, do you think it's possible that this kind of digital currency would redefine the nature of money, so become the main currency of the world, as opposed to being tied to fiat currency of different nations, and sort of really push the decentralization of control of money?
Definitely, but I think the bigger ramification is how it affects how society works, and I think there are many positive ramifications
outside of just
that.
Money,
outside of just money. Money is a foundational layer that enables so much more. I was meeting with an entrepreneur in Ethiopia, and payments is probably the number one problem to solve across the continent, both in terms of moving money across borders between nations on the continent, or the amount of corruption within the current system. But the lack of easy ways to pay people makes starting anything really difficult. I met an entrepreneur who started the Lyft/Uber of Ethiopia, and one of the biggest problems she has is that it's not easy for her riders to pay the company, and it's not easy for her to pay the drivers. And that definitely has stunted her growth and made everything more challenging. So the fact that she even has to think about payments instead of thinking about the best rider experience and the best driver experience is pretty telling. So I think as we get a more durable, resilient, and global standard, we see a lot more innovation everywhere. And I think there's no better case study for this than the various countries within Africa and their entrepreneurs who are trying to start things within health or sustainability or transportation, or a lot of the companies that we've seen here. So the majority of companies I met in November, when I spent a month on the continent, were payments oriented.
So that's it, guys. That is what is going on in the world today. Check this out. Just past 3 million addresses holding 0.1 Bitcoin or more for the first time ever. 3,010,784 to be exact. Bitcoin just keeps moving forward. I'm going to like this, and I'm going to share this on my social media because I want everybody, I want all my friends to be clued in. And of course, I'm anxious to hear your opinion in the comments below. What do you think of the Putin thing? It does seem that Tone Vase, who is from Russia or Ukraine, confirmed that this is what Putin is actually saying. What do you think about this? What do you think about Donald Trump in relation to this? And of course, I encourage you to watch this whole interview on Lex Fridman's channel. But anyway, guys, that's it for me today. My name is Aaron. See you tomorrow.